Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, Counterspy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into our time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
Mandel-Kramer, Don-MacLachlan, starring in an episode of Counterspy from February 14th, 1952. This episode entitled The Fight Against Narcotics.
And now, the Gulf Oil Companies and your neighborhood good Gulf dealer present Counterspy.
Washington calling David Harding, Counterspy. Washington calling David Harding, Counterspy.
The Gulf Oil Companies and your neighborhood good Gulf dealer are proud to present Counterspy, a program especially designed to help investigate and combat the enemies of our country, both at home and abroad. This is David Harding. Last November, Congress passed the Boggs Act, an amendment to the federal narcotics law, providing for stiff mandatory sentences for offenders. To implement this act, a special squad of 400 agents was carefully trained and assigned to narcotics duty. A series of nationwide mass arrests followed. The specific case you're about to hear has been selected from among hundreds because of its unusual nature. In the late afternoon of January 3rd this year, a young woman, worry stamped heavily on her face, walked across the dingy lobby of a cheap hotel in Washington's Skid Row section.
Oh.
No rooms, girlie. All taken.
I don't want a room. I'm looking for someone who registered here. His name is Frank Stuart.
Hey, girlie. Never heard of him.
I know he's here. What room is he in?
Now, look, girlie, I told
Will
you.
this help?
Well, why didn't you tell me that?
What room?
2A. Just up those stairs there. First flight. Last room to the right.
Frank! Frank! Frank, I know you're in there. Please let me in.
Go away.
It's Elaine. Let me in, Frank.
No, I don't want to see you.
Open this door. I've got to talk to you.
It's no use. Go away, please.
Frank, I'm staying right here until you let me in.
Why'd you have to come?
I've been looking for you for 2 days, worried half out of my mind.
Why'd you have to come? Why'd you have to see me like this? It would have been better if you'd never found me.
Sit down here on the bed. I want to talk to you.
Oh, leave me alone. Just leave me alone, will you?
Please sit down.
Let me go.
Can't you understand, Frank? I only want to help you.
Can't you understand I'm beyond help? Can't you see you're blind? Go on, get out. Let me alone.
Frank. Frank.
I'm so sick.
You're going to get better now.
No, it's hopeless.
I'll get help.
It's too late. 3 months ago, maybe even 2. But not now.
I've already spoken to a doctor. He said you can't...
You only hurt yourself doing that. It must look fine, a woman with the kind of job you have, with a brother like me. You only shamed yourself.
There's nothing to be ashamed of, Frank. Any more than any other illness. Now, come on. I'm going to take you home.
I can't.
The doctor will tell us what to do. I'll take care of you. Don't you see, Frank? Everybody will want to help you.
But I don't want to help myself.
You will.
Don't you think I tried? It didn't work. It's no use.
Frank, you're going to get well. You're going back and live a normal, healthy life. You're going to get well. You understand that?
What I've put you through, Elaine.
Oh, that's all past. I'm going to be proud of you, Frank. very proud. Now you get dressed and wash. Do as I say. I'm going down to get you a container of coffee. I'll be back in a few minutes. Now you be ready.
I'll be ready.
Oh.
It's all right.
It didn't have to end this way. It could have been so different.
No, sis. It couldn't. There wasn't any other way to stop.
Harding speaking.
Mr. Harding, I asked to be put through directly to you. This is Agent Elaine Stuart.
Yes, Miss Stewart. What is it?
I must see you right away. May I come to your office?
Why, of course, but what's this about?
Murder.
What?
One just committed. And if I don't see you right away, I'm afraid another one will be committed. This time by me. It's no different, Mr. Harding. It's the same as if my brother Frank was murdered.
A little more water, Miss Stewart.
No, Mr. Peters. I'm all right now, thanks. Sorry I made such a fool of myself, Mr. Harding.
Oh, you didn't at all.
I don't know what I would have done if you didn't see me right away. It's peculiar, isn't it? As an agent, I've worked on many cases, all kinds. But when you're personally involved, things are kind of different.
Well, I've known you long enough, Miss Stewart, to know you do nothing wrong, no matter what.
A cigarette, Miss Stewart?
I would like one, yes. Thank you. You'd never know it, but I'm supposed to be the unemotional one in the family.
Now, look, you've been under a terrific strain. I think you're doing just fine.
Miss Stewart, is there anything else you could tell us about this?
I don't know. I may have forgotten something.
When did you first discover that your brother had become addicted?
For sure? Only a few weeks ago.
You didn't notice any symptoms before that?
I knew something was wrong, but I just thought he was tired, nervous, maybe overworked. Mr. Harding, I'd give anything to get the people responsible for Frank's death.
You didn't live with your brother, huh?
No, we had separate apartments.
You knew his friends?
All of them, I think, with one exception.
Who's that?
Well, a man who came to Frank's apartment once while I was there. My brother got rid of him very hurriedly.
It could be the peddler, Chief.
Yes, it could be. Do you remember what this man looked like?
Short, thin, cheaply dressed. Oh, and one other thing.
Yeah?
He had a twitch in his right eye.
I see. Fergus, this is Harding. Agent Stewart will be down there to identification in a few moments. Have the narcotics file ready for her to go through. All right, Fergus, thank you. Look, if you want, Miss Stewart, you can rest here a while and then go down to Ident.
No, I'd rather go right away.
Fine. Well, Peters and I should be back in about an hour. While you're going through the photo file, we'll see what we can dig up in your brother's apartment.
Anything in that chest of drawers, Chief?
Come on, Peters. Let's take the clothes closet. I'll see what's in the box up here on the shelf. You go through that suit, then.
Right. What's in the box, Chief?
Well, dropper, syringe, empty bottle, small burner.
Minnie was a mainliner?
Yeah. Gone as far as he could, I suppose. Anything in that suit?
Nothing. One suit left. Sold himself out completely.
In all ways. Oh, wait a minute. His hat.
Anything in it?
Yeah. Here, pasted inside the band. Phone number.
Equator 26843. Peddler's number, you think?
Well, it must be if he went through the trouble of hiding it.
I'll run it down.
Do that right away. And meet me back at the office.
This is his photograph, Mr. Harding.
Are you sure, Miss Stewart?
Yes. This is the man I saw visit Frank's apartment.
You have a look at him, Peters, again, will you?
Now, there's no doubt about it, Chief. That's the guy. After I checked on that phone number, I went to the address. I saw him go in.
What name's he using?
Arthur Dodge. What have we got on him?
Real name's Arthur Dayton, known also as Blinky Dayton.
Any record?
4 arrests on narcotics charges.
2 convictions.
Worked the East here,
No, all the West Coast.
Last known whereabouts, Delray, California.
Got too hot for him out there, I guess.
Yeah. Well, we're going to make it even hotter here for Mr. Blinky Dayton.
February 14th, 1952, Counterspy on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
Here's some great news. If you missed the deadline to sign up for health insurance, or if you just have a plan you're not happy with, you still have a choice. It's called MediShare. There are hundreds of thousands of members, and they love it. MediShare has a 98% customer satisfaction rating, and this is obviously huge. The typical family saves around $6,000 a year switching to MediShare. Find out more. They're great to talk to. 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE.
The Overstock sale continues at MyPillow.com. Deep discounts on Giza Dream Sheets, MyPillow Original Pillows, the My Slippers, half price. I love mine. And with every order you make by going to MyPillow.com/radio specials, you'll get a free copy of Mike Lindell's book, What Are the Odds? From Crack Addict to CEO. MyPillow.com/radio specials, promo code USA. Now on Classic Radio Theater, more of Counterspy, as it was originally broadcast February 14th, 1952, The Fight Against Narcotics.
Now back to Counterspy.
Yeah, what is it?
This the man, Miss Stewart?
Yes, he's the one, Mr. Harding.
Harding.
Will you wait down in the car, please, Miss Stewart?
Yes, sir.
Hey, what is this?
We'll give you just one guess, Dayton.
That ain't my name. You got the wrong party.
Don't you wish it, Blinky?
What do you want with me? What was that dame fingering me for?
We'll talk about that inside.
What do you want with me anyway?
We'd like to book you for murder.
Murder?
Yes. We'd like to, but we can't.
Look, what do you got against me?
Officially, peddling narcotics. Unofficially, the death of Frank Stuart.
Stuart?
An ex-customer of yours.
Never heard of him. Look, you got me all wrong. I ain't peddling this stuff anymore.
Gave it up,
That's right.
You expect us to believe that?
You can, I swear.
We don't believe you.
You got the stuff here in the room?
I told you I'm out of the business.
Where's it hidden? The mattress, under the floor, or where?
I told you I'm out of
Where's the stuff?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'll rip open the mattress.
All right, Peters, that's as good a place as any to start.
Wait.
The mattress turned out to be the best place to start, Chief.
Where'd you buy it, Dayton?
What difference does it make?
A lot. Now answer, Mr. Harding, where?
I don't remember.
We may have a way of curing your memory.
I don't remember.
You ever hear of the Boggs Act, Dayton?
I don't remember where I bought it.
The act makes it tough on characters like you.
The penalties for illegal sale of narcotics under the act are increased to 2 to 5 years for a first offender only.
And you, Dayton, already have 2 counts against you.
For a second offender, 5 to 10 years.
Third offender gets hit even harder, 10 to 20.
10 to 20.
Think about that, Dayton.
Think hard, 10 to 20 for you.
10 to 20.
Sort of makes the peddling business real risky, doesn't it?
20 years.
Who did you buy it from, Dayton?
Do I get any kind of break if I tell?
I'm not promising you anything.
Figure it out, Dayton. Can you be worse off if you tell?
Well, Dayton?
Okay, all right.
We're listening.
I got the stuff over in Maryland.
Where in Maryland?
Glenton.
Where in Glenton?
Bowling Alley. Crystal Bowling Alley is the name of the place. Make a trip over there every month to pick up.
Pick up from whom?
Guy.
What guy? Come on, Dayton.
I don't know his name.
That's so? Dealing with him for how long?
About 6 months.
About 6 months, and you don't even know his name, Never formally introduced, is that it?
I'm not kidding. That's the way the operation was worked. He knows the peddlers, but the peddlers don't know him.
What do you think, Chief?
Well, it's possible.
The truth, I'll tell you the whole layout, and then you can check. You'll find out I'm not giving you the business.
You don't have to worry, Dayton. We'll find out. Come on. You see, Miss Stewart, our next job is to find out who the seller is.
You didn't get his name from Blinky Dayton?
No, he said he didn't know it.
Believe him?
Well, I'm inclined to. Many times sellers play it that cozy.
But you know where the seller can be located.
Or if Dayton told us the truth, yes. Bowling alley over in Clinton.
Uh-huh.
That's where he made his purchase once a month. On the third Monday.
I wish I could see this thing through.
Well, you're going to. I'm going to put you on the case.
Oh, good.
But first, you've got just 10 days for a rapid training course in narcotics duty.
All right. And then what are your plans after that?
Well, on the appointed day, Miss Stewart, you will visit that bowling alley as Blinky Dayton's girlfriend.
What'll it be, miss?
Just ginger ale.
One ginger. Okay.
Not many bowling tonight, huh?
Who fills up late here, 11, 12 o'clock. The joint's jumping. Here's your ginger. Straight.
Don't be fresh.
Just being friendly.
Well, just mop your bar and mind your own business.
Okay, girlie, if that's the way you want it.
That's the way.
Pardon me for breathing. What's yours, mister?
Beer.
Beer. Coming right up.
I didn't expect you here, Mr. Peters.
Chief wanted me to check, Miss Stewart, and be sure you're all set.
I'm all right.
You let it be known around yet that you're Blinky's girlfriend?
Yes, sir.
Watch it.
One beer.
How much?
15.
Keep the change.
Thanks.
Know your stuff, Miss Stewart?
Yes, everything.
Blinky Dayton's record and
Back to his first arrest.
the narcotics terms.
Down to the last powder.
You've got the number to call.
Uh-huh.
If it gets rough, use it.
I will.
You'll be covered by agents anyway, just in case.
I hope I won't need them.
You never can tell. You scared?
Pretty much.
Remember what the chief said. You can back out anytime you want.
After what happened to my brother, what kind of a person do you think I am?
Me? I think you're swell.
Nice bowling. 2 strikes in a row. I said nice bowling.
So I heard you.
Oh, another strike. Regular champ, huh?
You're in my way.
Oh, unfriendly type, huh?
Not to friends.
Well, maybe I'm not such a stranger. What's your name?
Why?
Maybe we got a mutual friend.
Yeah? Who would that be?
That would be Blinky Dayton.
I've been waiting for you.
Took my time looking you over. What's your name?
Elaine Stuart. Blinky calls me Ellie.
What do I care what he calls you? I only care why you're here.
I'm making a pickup for Blinky.
What picker?
You know.
Maybe I don't. Why didn't Blinky come himself?
Sick.
Sick from what?
Same thing that always troubles him. His ulcers.
Ulcers, huh?
Oh, you know he complains about it to everybody.
So he's sick again, huh?
Don't believe me? Call him. You got his number.
He'll be there to get my call?
He's sick in bed. Where else would he be?
Okay, I'll call him.
He'll be there.
Take it from me. He better be.
Gulf Pride HD, the new motor oil that cuts engine wear as much as 80% in the day-to-day short trip driving that most of us do.
Short trip driving, taking the children to school, running errands to the store. That's the kind of driving most of us do. And it's the kind responsible for most engine wear. You see, short trip driving can dirty up engine parts more than any other kind of driving.
But now there's a new motor oil that keeps engines clean under all driving conditions. It's Gulf Pride HD, the new high detergency motor oil from Gulf. Gulf Pride HD reduces harmful sludge to a degree never before thought possible. Keeps pistons and piston rings amazingly clean.
And since a clean engine wears less, Gulf Pride HD cuts engine wear way down, as much as 80% in day-to-day short-trip driving.
This extra protection can save you money by heading off motor troubles and avoiding repair bills. So don't wait another day to start using Gulf Pride HD in your car. Drive in tomorrow at your neighborhood good Gulf dealers. Change to high detergency Gulf Pride. New Gulf Pride HD. Now back to Counterspy.
Hello?
Elaine Stuart, Mr. Harding. I'm in a drugstore phone booth down the street from the bowling alley.
Yes, I know. Agent Conway's in a car just down the block. He radioed the information to me. Did you make out all right?
Yes, your plan worked to the letter. He said he called Blinky, and Blinky told him he was sick.
Yes, we saw to that, too.
I haven't been able to get our contact's name yet.
Well, Peter spotted him talking to you in the bowling alley, and he recognized him as Charlie Vincent. We have a mile-long record on him.
And the conclusion of Counterspy, starring Don MacLachlan and Mandel-Kramer from February 14th, 1952, comes up following these messages from your favorite station. I'm Wyatt Cox. This is Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
Are you suffering with arthritis or osteoporosis? Do you have diabetes? Did you know that these are just two of the hundreds of diseases that have seen improvement with Dr. Wallach's incredible longevity products? You can't get them at a health food store. The only way to get them is to call us at 800-214-0065. That's 800-214-0065. Do you have heart disease, fibromyalgia, or high blood pressure? Do you have a terrible time losing weight? Dr. Wallach can help. He was a veterinarian and cured diseases in animals. He felt that he could do the same for humans, so he became a physician. Over 50 years of research and helping people like you goes into every bottle of Dr. Wallach's amazing discoveries. Do you want to feel better? Learn how to treat the cause of your problem rather than covering up the symptoms with drugs. Call 800-214-0065. That's 800-214-0065.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, the conclusion of Counterspy, February 14th, 1952.
Now, what's your next step?
I'm to meet him in an hour.
Where?
The basement of an apartment house, 22 Elm Street, the boiler room.
He'll turn the stuff over to you then?
Said he would.
All right. That brings us up close to the finish.
Come in. You got the money?
Uh-huh. You got the stuff?
You know I like doing business with you. It's better than with ugly Blinky, huh?
Blinky's expecting me back in Washington tonight.
Huh? What's your hurry?
Well, next time I won't be in such a hurry.
And I can look forward to a return visit, huh?
Mm-hmm. You'll see me again. I'm sure.
That a promise?
It is. Now, how about the stuff?
Got 'em right here. 2 capsules of H. Take 'em.
Suppose we take him, Vincent. It's only one exit from this boiler room, Vincent. Come on if you want to try a break.
Cops.
You can wait outside, Miss Stewart.
All right, Mr. Harding.
She's with you.
It's one of us. Get those capsules, Peters. That's all the evidence we'll need to wrap him up.
You're not going to get any.
Hey, quick, Peter. Come on, you cough him up.
Too late, Chief. He swallowed him.
That's right, Chief. Too late. Now what are you going to do, huh, Chief?
We have ways, friend.
Who are you trying to kid, friend? I read the papers. Supreme Court threw out a case last month because the cops got their evidence that way. The Supreme Court is on my side. Could I ask for anything better?
You might be asking for a lot more before we're finished with you.
Who are you trying to scare? I know my constitutional rights. What can you do?
We can hold you for 24 hours.
So hold me. So what?
You take it from me, Vincent. They could turn out to be the worst hours of your life. Let's go.
can see it.
Inside. Here he is, Mr. Harding.
All right, Peters. Now you can ask Dr. Wheeler to step in.
Hey, listen, what's this all about, huh?
Doctor, this is the man. Vincent, this is Dr. Wheeler of the Narcotics Division.
Who needs a doctor? I never felt better.
Vincent, you've been held here for 6 hours so far.
Who's complaining? I can wait the rest easy.
Now, before Dr. Wheeler speaks with you, I want you to realize that he's under oath as a medical man to tell you only the absolute truth.
Truth about what?
Doctor?
You swallowed 2 capsules of heroin. That correct, Vincent?
So?
Now, I presume the capsule covering is composed of gelatin.
So?
The digestive juices are potent enough to dissolve even the strongest gelatins within 12 to 18 hours.
Hey, what's he getting at?
Your funeral, Vincent, maybe.
What?
Please go on, Doctor.
2 capsules of heroin, even if the narcotic is only of 25% strength, are enough to kill a dozen men.
What? A dozen. Not just one, Vincent.
Now, I can safely say that if the capsules remain in your system, in a very short time, they'll prove fatal.
He means you'll be dead, Vincent.
Dead?
I repeat, if the capsules remain in your system, in a very short time, they'll prove fatal.
Thank you, Doctor.
You're welcome, Mr. Harding.
But, Doc, wait.
What is it, Vincent?
You can't let me die.
It's not up to us.
Doc, you can't let me die. Now, you gotta save me.
He has to have your permission, Vincent.
That's the law, Vincent. You're a stickler for the law. Must have your permission.
Well, he's got it. He's got it for the love... He's got to help me.
Well, the doctor is quite willing to cooperate.
And he's ready to go to work.
And okay, let him do it. We're wasting time.
The doctor will work on you right after we get from you names and locations.
Names?
Of everyone you sell to and the people you buy from.
What's the matter with you? We can't waste time.
You're the one who's wasting time, Vincent.
It's up to you.
All right. I'll tell you everything you want to know, but let's get it over with fast.
Start the recorder, Peters.
Right.
All right, Vincent, go ahead. Into this microphone. Start talking.
You got it all, Mr. Harding?
Everything, Miss Stewart. Agents are now rounding up the people involved with Vincent.
Well, I guess you don't need me on this assignment anymore.
No, but I just stopped by to thank you.
It's all in the line of duty.
Well, a bit above and beyond.
You know how I wanted to help, Chief.
Yes, I know. Of course, it doesn't bring your brother back.
Well, if what I've done has helped others like Frank, then that's something.
Well, it's a great deal more. Although they'll never know who you are or what you've done, I assure you, Miss Stewart, many people are very much in debt to you.
February 14th, 1952, Counterspy on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
What does it mean to be an American? Just what are our American values? Working hard to succeed, loving God, country, and family, being honest, strong, and compassionate.
Supporting our Constitution and recognizing that we are blessed to be living in America, the greatest country in the world.
Our Bill of Rights protects us, our freedoms of worship, speech, and privacy, our right to own firearms, our right to trial by jury.
Our right to be free, to live our own lives without some bureaucrat telling us what to do. Most countries don't have these rights.
Want to know more? It's all there in the book. Get your own free book, The U.S. Constitution and the Declaration of Independence. Then read it again, and this time share it with your friends. Our great Constitution is the basis of all of our freedoms, our inalienable rights. Get your own copy at freeusbook.com.
Brought to you by the American Media Council.
Now on Classic Radio Theater, Part 2 of the 5-part yours truly Johnny Dollar story, The Qui Bono Matter, from February 14th, 1956.
From Hollywood, it's time now for...
Johnny Dollar.
Tom Bates, Mr. Dollar.
Tom...
I'm acting county attorney since Dan Parker's death.
Oh, yes, I was looking for you earlier.
So Sheriff Peterson said. What was it you wanted to see me about?
Didn't Peterson tell you why I'm in town?
Yes, of course. You're an insurance investigator. You're here in connection with Parker's accident.
Accident, did you say?
I thought the sheriff straightened you out on that.
He tried his best.
Well, I'm afraid I can't tell you any
Mr.
more.
Bates, are you in your office at the moment?
Yes, I am.
Stay there then. I'll be right over.
Tonight and every weekday night, Bob Bailey in the transcribed adventures of the man with the action-packed expense account, America's fabulous freelance insurance investigator.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. From Special Investigator Johnny Dollar, location Green Pass, Virginia, to the Home Office, Surety Mutual Insurance Limited, Hartford, Connecticut. Assignment, the Qui Bono Matter. Expense account continued. Item 4, 5 cents for a copy of the Green Pass Weekly Sentinel. I glanced through it as I walked across the square from the hotel to the courthouse. The big news, of course, was the tragic death of longtime county attorney Dan Parker. And 2 columns of the editorial page were devoted to eulogy and sympathy for the dead man's adopted daughter, Luann, who had mistaken her father for a prowler and shot him to death with his own gun. But neither the editorial nor the front page mentioned the fact that Luann, because of her mistake, stood to collect $100,000 worth of insurance.
Come in.
Are you Tom Bates?
That's right.
My name is Dollar. I just talked to you on the phone.
And I told you I had nothing to say.
Mind if I sit down?
Now, look here.
You look, Mr. Bates. I've been in the business of insurance investigation for quite a while. And I probably know the legal rules and responsibilities of your office about as well as you do.
Get out, Dollar.
For 2 cents, that's exactly what I'd do. And if I did, you'd find yourself in a real tight spot.
What are you talking about?
The company would have a battery of high-powered legal eagles in town by 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. And they'd have a subpoena, a restraining order, an order to show cause so quick it'd make your eyes bug out. And that's where it would start to get embarrassing, Mr. Bates. When you tried to explain to the court why you were withholding evidence and refusing to cooperate.
What do you mean, refusing to cooperate? I haven't refused a thing.
It sounded that way to me.
I don't care how it sounded. Look, I know what you're up to. Peterson told me why you're here.
Oh?
You're out to muddy this thing up. You're trying to pin something on Miss Parker so you can get out of paying the insurance claim. And subpoena or no subpoena, you'll get no help from my office on a crooked deal like that.
Any reason for you to think something could be pinned on her, Mr. Bates?
Of course there's no reason. You saw the transcript of the coroner's inquiry, didn't you?
I did.
Well, did you find one single hint of suspicion anywhere in it?
No. Not much of anything else, for that matter. Are you always as gentle with your witnesses as you were with Miss Parker?
The girl was half out of her mind with grief, on the verge of a breakdown. We got the facts. What more do you want? Maybe we should have thrown her in jail, beat her up with a rubber hose, starved her till she thought of something to confess. Is that the way you'd have done it?
Oh, relax, Mr. Bates. You're not in a courtroom.
No, and by heaven, I'm not going to be. Not on this case. Because there's no reason.
How long have you been in love with the Parker girl?
Ever since I... What difference that make?
It might help to account for your attitude about this.
What is it you're thinking? That I'm helping her get away with something? Covering something up for her? Or that all of us are, maybe? Everybody at the inquest?
Well, it wouldn't surprise me too much, the way this whole town gets up on its high horse the minute you ask a simple question about the girl.
Well, what do you expect when you go around insinuating
Insinuating nothing, Mr. Bates. I haven't accused Miss Parker of a thing. I have no reason to. And regardless of what you think or Sheriff Peterson thinks, I didn't come here to frame her, to pin something on her. I want just one thing. The complete detailed story of Dan Parker's death, and I'm going to get it one way or another.
Well, nobody's trying to prevent you.
I'm glad to hear it. Then how about some cooperation?
What do you want to know?
How long have you been Mr. Parker's assistant?
Almost 3 years.
And now you automatically become county attorney, is that it?
Yes, until the next general election.
Do you intend to run for the office at that time?
Possibly. I don't see...
How did you and Parker get along?
Fine. Why?
Well, did he approve of your interest in his daughter?
Well, he certainly preferred me to... Well, anybody else in the running.
Who else is in the running?
Nobody, actually.
Are you engaged to her?
Not officially. She doesn't think she's quite ready to settle down.
Uh-huh. But if she had been ready, you think Mr. Parker would have welcomed you as a son-in-law?
I think so. I didn't kill him, Mr. Dollar.
Ever have any arguments with him?
No. None of any importance.
Who were his enemies, Mr. Bates?
He didn't have any.
A county attorney without a single enemy? That's a little remarkable, don't you think?
That was the type of man he was. He'd usually let sleeping dogs lie. Easy going. Too much so, maybe. That was half the
reason the two of you argued? Is that what you started to say?
There were times when he should have gotten tough, or at least let me do it.
Well, you'll have your chance now.
And I'm going to take advantage of it. In one case, at least.
Oh, what case is that?
The Happy Hollow Roadhouse. That place should have been closed 2 years ago. But Mr. Parker wouldn't hear of it. And the sheriff wouldn't touch it without Parker's okay.
Who runs it?
A dirty little... His name's Sammy Drake. A cheap 30-cent crook.
Why should the place be closed, Mr. Bates?
Because it's a menace to the community. Drake's got everything going out there, wide open. He ought to be run out of town. And before the month's up, he will be.
Was Drake a friend of Mr. Parker's?
Hardly.
Is Miss Parker acquainted with him?
She knows him, of course. In a town this small, everybody knows everybody else. Doesn't mean anything.
I see.
You see what? What are you driving at, anyway?
The complete, detailed story, that's all.
Fine. But what bearing does this stuff have on the story?
Oh, none, probably. The sheriff tells me Miss Parker is a dead shot with a pistol. Do you know if that's true?
Absolutely. She can outshoot me any day of the week, along with most of the other men in the county. That's one of the ironies of the thing. It was her own father who taught her to shoot.
Was she given a paraffin test the night of the accident to determine whether she'd fired a gun?
Of course not. In the first place, we're not set up for it. And in the second place, there was no doubt but what she had. The housekeeper heard the shots and ran out in the hall and saw her standing there with a gun in her hand. And she admits she fired him. What more do you want?
I guess that ought to satisfy any reasonable person. Well, thanks a lot for your cooperation, Mr. Bates.
You're welcome. And I'll frankly admit I don't have the slightest idea what line of thought it is you're trying to follow.
It's the same one I've been following ever since I left Hartford. Do you know the Latin phrase, Qui Bono?
Sure. Means who benefits. It was an old principle of Roman law.
And it's still a good one. Who benefits here? Well, Luann Parker, of course, to the tune of $100,000. But maybe she's not the only one. There are different ways of benefiting, you know.
It still comes back to the same thing. She's the one who mistook her father for a prowler that night. She's the one who pulled the trigger and fired the shots that killed him.
Apparently so. But it's possible that somebody might have used her, Mr. Bates. Expense account, item 5, $6 even. Flat rate payment to Jake Deagley for a couple of hours' use of his battered old taxi. I stopped at the telephone office and I talked with the supervisor. I talked with the editor of the local paper and with a waitress who'd gone to school with Luann Parker, with a boy in a service station who'd dated her in high school. And all of their remarks fit the same picture. A sweet, fresh, all-American girl with an adored father who'd showered her with gifts and attention. And now her own personal tragedy was the town's public one, and they all wept for her. Not a fact out of line. So finally I decided I'd filled in the background enough for the moment, and it was high time I met the little princess face to face.
Yes, sir?
Good afternoon. I'd like to see Miss Parker, please.
Well, I'm sorry, sir, but she ain't here.
Oh?
She's been staying in with Dr. Praley and his wife. Seems like she just couldn't face this place after what happened here.
Are you the housekeeper, Mary Jackson?
That's right, sir.
Well, I'd like to talk to you too, Mary, if you don't mind.
What about, sir?
Just a routine question or two. I'm with the insurance company that carries the policy on Mr. Parker's life.
Well, I don't think I ought to go around talking
Well, it's quite all
about...
right. Sheriff Peterson and Tom Bates are both cooperating with me, so you can be sure there's nothing wrong about it.
Well, if them two say it's all right...
They do.
Then I reckon it is. Won't you come in, sir?
In a few minutes' conversation, I learned that Mary Jackson had practically raised the Parker girl and worshipped both her and her father. She showed me the terrace where Dan Parker had bumped into the chair and wakened both his daughter and Mary, the back door where he'd entered the house that night, and then finally the main stairway where the shooting had taken place.
When I heard the shots, all I could think was, oh, my poor baby, and I come running out in the hall.
Your room is the third door there, is that right?
Yes, sir. Well, just then Miss Luann turned on the lights, that switch right there beside you, and I saw her standing here at the top of the stairs with a gun in her hand. Then we both looked, saw it was Mr. Parker. We run down there. Miss Luann tore off his tie and pulled his shirt open, but he'd already passed on.
Yeah, it must have been a terrible thing for both of you.
Yes, sir, it was.
Mr. Parker seems to have been a very generous man, especially with his daughter.
Oh, he always gave her anything she wanted. Bought her another new car just last month.
Yeah, I saw it in the driveway. Well, this is a very attractive house. Must be worth $25,000, $30,000.
Mr. Parker bought it just 2 years ago. He thought with Miss Luann growing up, she ought to have a better place to live.
What's your salary here, Mary?
$95 a month, sir. And my keep, of course.
I wonder how he did it.
Sir?
Well, Dan Parker made $5,000 a year as county attorney. There's less than $600 in his bank account. The manager said it's never been much higher. And yet, this house, new cars, those clothes of Miss Parker's that you showed me, a $50,000 life insurance policy. How about that, Mary?
I don't know nothing about it, sir.
And still, with all this, they were always quarreling.
How'd you find that out?
Why, Mary? What did they quarrel about?
Well, it's only been the last 6 months, and it wasn't her fault. It wasn't like her. It was that Sammy that put those ideas in her head.
Sammy Drake, the fellow who owns the Happy Hollow?
And she was a restless one with nothing to do, and he took advantage of it. Filled her head full of crazy notions. I know it was him.
What crazy notions, Mary?
Oh, going off to New York, getting on the stage, or dancing in some nightclub. It's the only thing Mr. Parker ever refused her. But he sure put his foot down on that. He said the only way she'd do it'd be over his dead body. Oh, sir.
Thanks, Mary. You've been a lot of help.
Now, here's our star to tell you about tomorrow's intriguing episode of this week's story.
Tomorrow, the net tightens. A rat runs for cover. Then the whole thing blows wide open. Join us, won't you? Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar, starring Bob Bailey, is transcribed in Hollywood. Written by Les Crutchfield, it is produced and directed by Jack Johnstone. Be sure to join us tomorrow night, same time and station, for the next exciting episode of Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. Roy Rowan speaking.
From February 14th, 1956, yours truly, Johnny Dollar on Classic Radio Theater. Visit our webpage, classicradio.stream. There you can stream our shows on demand, learn more about classic radio collecting, and contact me there, classicradio.stream. Don't forget that our shows are available anywhere podcasts are served, including iHeartRadio, Spotify, Spreaker, TuneIn, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, even through YouTube. Just search for Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Thank this station, support their advertisers, and tell all your friends the great radio shows are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite radio station.